Welcome to Slow Home Studio. Too many people live in badly designed houses, and we want to change that.
February is Bedroom Month, and we're going to kick things off by looking at the case study project that's featured in this month's Avenue magazine.
Yeah, and the case study has a headboard, a night table, and bed frame that we actually designed and custom built.
Right, and it's not just those things. We actually designed the house that all of this stuff fits into, and we are going to talk about the plan for this bedroom in a couple weeks' time. But as Matthew wants to do, today we're going to focus on the bed itself.
Kind of a crazy way of introducing the segment, but all right, we'll carry on. So this is the bed that we designed, and it's a very simple design, but there's a couple of really interesting details. It's basically comprised of this asymmetrical thin plane of walnut wood that acts as the headboard, and then there's the bed frame, and then there's a freestanding night table on this other side.
And a built-in night table on the other side, which we can see when we look at our computer model. And as you can probably tell with the computer models that were done a year before we actually built this, there are going to be a few small changes.
It's pretty close, so it's pretty close. I think this is interesting because what we've done basically is the bed, surprisingly enough, is centered in the room, and we're going to look at that a little bit later in plan, but the whole composition is asymmetrical. We've got this corner window that wraps around and creates this really interesting corner where we place this light fixture for a bit of effect, but then we've got this headboard which aligns with the mullion of the window, which is an ordnance line. We've talked about that before, and it goes wall to wall, in which we've carved out this little slot of space. There's a little light in there. This becomes a freestanding night table with a drawer. And then on the opposite side, we have one that looks like a piece of furniture that's kind of decoupled from the headboard.
Right, and let's just talk about that for a couple of minutes, because the width of this is defined by the required distance between the wall and the side of the bed, and that sets the width of that window over there, which is, we like to keep, if you can get about 3 foot 6 inches beside your bed, that's a great amount of space to have to be able to get, comfortably circulate, make the bed, do all of that. If it gets more than that, more than about 4.5 feet, it's going to feel a bit weird, and you're going to want to put another piece of furniture in there. If it's less than 3 feet, it's going to feel really tight.
Yeah, it's a really interesting concept because king beds are actually pretty big. They're about 6 feet by 6'6", so they're a big object. But what you have to do with a bedroom when you're designing it, particularly with a custom piece of furniture, is you have to position it in the room so that it feels comfortable and there's adequate space on each side, but not too much space so that the bed feels like it's floating in the middle of a big room.
So that's what we think you should be doing with bedrooms. What we're going to be talking about next week are some of the common pitfalls that we've seen in bedroom design, and we're going to show you how to identify them and avoid them.
See you next time.
Bye.
If you're interested in learning more about the principles of slow home design, you can pick up a copy of our book entitled What's Wrong with This House? It's a practical guide to finding a well-designed and sustainable home. It's available for sale on the Slow Home Studio website. It's also available for sale at Amazon.com in both paperback and the Kindle format.